Hey, Deserving listeners, Love is Blind. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Keep in mind that everything I say is completely speculative based on very little information. Let's watch.
3 different times a night, my best friend told me how attractive you were.
What does that have to do with me?
Just let me explain. He's hot, Hannah. I'm really into him. She said 3 different times, right?
What does that have to do with me,
And then in the same day, you said that you really want to talk to Katie.
What does that have to do with me, Hannah?
And then you two get together. I have no clue what the fuck you're saying. I have no clue what the conversation is, right? But to me, it hurts because it's like, that's my fiance, my best friend.
Okay, so I'll give 1 thumb up for finally saying what is actually happening, which is that she is hurt. That gives him a chance to, well, that's vulnerability. I'm not being attacked. You felt hurt, and it's understandable. So let me tend to that. Now, she is only saying this after attacking him and vaguely accusing him and being hostile towards him and saying that she's taught him everything that he knows. So he could be hurt and afraid sufficiently so that he won't hear what she's saying and not respond well. Plus, I don't know if Nick is very good with conversations like this, but I'll give a thumbs up to that. Finally, to me, it hurts because it's like, that's my fiance and my best friend. I think anyone would feel, well, not anyone, but I think a lot of people would have been hurt by that, you know?
And it hurts me. At the end of the day, it's like, is that a best friend who disrespects me like that? And is that a fiance that disrespects me?
See, there's that word. This word disrespect. I don't know what she means by it, but she uses it a lot. And I think what she means is I need people to look up to me. I need people to respect me. I need people to recognize my position. She doesn't really assert it in the classic narcissistic way, I will say, like through bragging and over-talking and incessantly talking. Not all people with narcissism will do that, but they often will take up way too much space in a conversation. She doesn't tend to do that in the classic narcissistic sense. So it's not in that vein, which makes me think that it's more of a narrow, specific trauma that she's reacting to, that she was disrespected, or her way of establishing any sort of self-esteem was to establish that people would respect her, or that she saw this modeled or something. But anyway, yeah, so previous statement that she said, I wish she would have just stuck to that. It hurt my feelings when my best friend was saying things that made it seem like she wanted to get with you, which is disrespectful of our friendship, but really it just hurt because I would hope that someone that was my best friend would be concerned about my feelings. And also, when the two of you were talking for so long and when you came back, you didn't intuit or wonder about my feelings about it, it was hurtful, and it made me wonder if you didn't care or something. And then when I asked you about what you talked about when we got home, I got an evasive answer, and it felt like you just didn't care to tell me. You didn't intuit, or you didn't care if I would be concerned or jealous, and that hurt. I wish she would have just stuck to that. And if she would have started with that, that would have been, I think, much more likely to go well. Although I don't know how Nick is in those kind of conversations.
So my question for you is, you're not secure in this. You don't trust me. That's what really
what
it comes down to.
It's not that I don't trust you. It's about respect.
Do you trust me?
I don't know if I don't trust you, but I don't know if I trust Katie.
Okay, so it's good. I was hoping for a different angle, but I think that is to the point that he is asking that question. And that is a good thing to ask, and he's entitled to ask that. And it seems to have illuminated an important thing. And I'm glad that she can articulate that, because it was seemingly in that direction. I don't know if I don't trust you. Well, that's not really saying she trusts him, right? I don't know if I don't trust you. And I don't know if I trust Katie. So she's sort of, I think she's saying, it's not really you, the trust that I'm worried about, is more Katie. So this is interesting, that if she sees Nick as a boy, as inferior, as immature, as someone who lacks integrity or agency or a brain, then, and yeah, a natural outgrowth of that would be if Katie is coming after you, you as the putz that you are going to have no ability to say no because you're a putz. And if I'm not there guiding you, then you're going to be led astray by another woman or a woman with a strong personality or a woman who I think is more attractive than me, or I don't know if that's a part of it, but yeah, it's interesting to think about. Yeah, and that is her narrative, right? She sees him, putz is the right word, but she sees him as a boy, an incompetent, immature, unsmart person who doesn't know how the world works and can be easily led astray by a woman that is even older, 10 years older than Hannah, right?
I don't even know why we're having this conversation, right? Like, I'm here with you. Like, I'm gonna get married to you.
No,
if you don't trust me,
understand my frustration though.
I really don't.
Do you remember when we got in a fight the first time and I said at the end of the day it's about respect? Respect, Nick.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the progression of couples on this show and how later on they show signs of having not resolved the previous fights. And in this instance, seeing Nick laugh, I think I don't think he's laughing like, you know, oh my God, look at her. I think he's more laughing out of frustration, like, yeah, I do remember you talking about respect. And that's part of the problem, or I don't know if I'm on board with that or something. Yeah, respect, Nick. Like, boy. Imagine if we reverse the genders. It's not a one-to-one because gender is a context that we can never get rid of. But if we did, I think it would be pretty hard to watch a scene like this. If you had a man saying, just imagine that. If there was a dude on this show saying, I've taught you everything you know. I'm more mature than you. You will not disrespect me. You will respect me. Right? So we understand that anyone of any gender can be a perpetrator and anyone of any gender can be a victim. And this is heading in that direction. And I guess if you think about it, the question I have is if Nick is being torn down, if he is being beaten down in his mind. You know, this is the beginning of gaslighting. It's the beginning of convincing someone that they don't know what they're doing and that they can't trust their own judgments or their memory or their mind or their independence, you know? And so anyway, and this would be a scenario in which gaslighting would occur in that she is telling him, I am mad at you. I am punishing you right now because Katie said that she was attracted to you. That's what I'm doing right now. You will respect me. And in the beginning, you would defend yourself or be bewildered. You might even laugh eventually. But if this continues, eventually you reach a Y in the road where you have to either say, my spouse is abusive and therefore I have to leave, and that's scary to me, or I can just give in to their narrative and say that it is my fault and I will blame myself and, you know, fall on my own sword and try to appease. So this is how it begins.
I don't know. I'm going to bed.
I respected you. I said, hey, like, Hannah and I are in a fantastic place. I can't wait to get married.
Are we?
Okay. So he's trying to help, and that wasn't a bad thing to say. She doesn't go with opportunities to resolve. He's mostly just evading and not saying much. But then when he actually is, I think, giving the two of them an opportunity to move forward, she, at least in this conversation, and maybe others, pretty consistently pushes back and doesn't let it work and just insults. So that could just be an outgrowth of her being highly triggered right now and upset and hurt and in a bad place, or it's a policy that she just can't allow for there to be like an equal exchange or respect both ways or something. Yeah. But it's interesting that she's really focusing on respect, right? Respect me.
If I can't have a conversation with one of your best friends, I guess you just don't trust us then.
No, I just want you to understand when I'm upset. I have no clue what you talked about, Nick. Do you
That's
understand
not my
that?
fault that she came up to you 5 different times and said I was hot. I love you and I'm giving my world to you.
So it's good that he's saying this. I think it might help. She's toning it down, and she's saying things like, I just want you to understand how I feel. So I think she might have through that whole conversation been working out how she felt as she was talking. And she was saying in the beginning a lot of things that didn't really make any sense in terms of her anger at him. And then she eventually got to a place right now where she's just like, well, maybe it's just like, I would like him to know how I feel. Well, Hannah, if you just told him how you felt from the beginning, then I think this would have gone a lot differently if she had just gone to him and said, so I got to tell you something, that when you and Katie were talking, that I don't have any reason to believe that you were doing anything untoward, but it looked like the two of you were smiling and laughing and enjoying the conversation. And again, I'm not accusing you of anything, but Katie had already been saying how much she thought you were hot, and I was worried she was going to try to pull you away from me, and it kind of freaked me out. And we have the wedding coming up, and I was worried that this would cause you to change your mind, and so I spent a good amount of the time at the party struggling with those feelings, and I'm still kind of struggling, and so I guess I'm just looking for a little bit of empathy and validation right now around that. There's a chance that he would have responded well to that. I don't know if he would, honestly, because we haven't seen that put to the test, but there's that. It's also possible that he has a harder time with that kind of communication, but at the very least, I would imagine, given what he's saying now, I imagine that they would have found their way to some sort of validation, and that would have been okay. But that's not what happened, Hannah. What happened was you attacked him and said that he's basically an incompetent boob, and you've taught him everything that he knows. And now you're asking for him to understand how you feel. And the way that he's seeing it is like, so I did nothing wrong, and you don't think I did anything wrong, and Katie was being a jerk face, and you're mad at me? No, I don't understand how you feel. I don't understand why you're mad at me. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. So it's time for Thanksgiving. And in my family, we always have a really big Thanksgiving. My dad always gets us into a circle before dinner, and we hold hands, and we each give thanks for things in our lives. And afterwards, I always feel really uplifted. Research has actually shown that giving gratitude is associated with a lot of positive mental health outcomes, and also with positive health benefits like improved sleep and improved immune system. Therapy can be a great place to explore our gratitude. There are likely positive aspects of ourselves that we don't see that a therapist can help us to discover, and then we can have gratitude even for things about ourselves. Well, one place you can find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Kirk today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
Like, oh, you talked to Katie for 40 minutes. Who gives a fuck?
I do.
I don't give a fuck.
But
though.
this is the thing.
So you should listen to me. I'm into you, and I'm into this, right? So who gives a fuck what Katie thinks?
I was so excited to show you like my fun side and have a fun night. And like, of course, I should have.
Yeah,
fun.
but who ruined that?
Yeah. So I think what she's saying there is true, and I think it is evidence that she knows there's something wrong. Although in the conversation with Ashley, it was very quick from her to say, well, I'm teaching him so many things. Like in the conversation with Ashley, and she had this similar progression outwardly before, that she would say, I need to stop hounding him and criticizing him and jumping down his throat, because I have a problem with that. And I just have so many things I want to teach him, and he needs to learn a lot of things. It's a way for her to stay in the mode and stay out of self-awareness while, there's an attempt. Something is attempting to break through, but it's as soon as it breaks through, her defense kicks in, right? It's sort of like if someone is suffering from an addiction and they're just like, hey, I don't drink hard alcohol. Sure, I drink beer all day long, but I don't drink hard alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic. There's a part of the person that's like, you have a problem with alcohol, but then very quickly the other part's steps in and establishes denial for the person. Anyway, so it kind of has that look to it. And she is saying, God, I wanted today to be fun. But I also think that in her mind, what she does is she is 90% sure that he is to blame. As she says these things, I was wanting to be fun. And then look what you and Katie did or something like that. Instead of like, maybe this is all me. Maybe I'm the problem 100%. And the irony or the paradox is that the less self-esteem you have, the harder it is to admit that there's something wrong with you, right? And the more self-esteem you have and the more growth and the more strengths that you possess, the easier it is to admit a weakness. When I started out as a therapist, it was hard for me to admit that I didn't know what I was doing. And I spent a lot of time in my mind and in consultation meetings trying to demonstrate that I knew what I was doing. As I got older and more experienced in the field of therapy, I didn't need to do that anymore because I just felt confident. I had enough data and enough experience and enough feedback from clients to feel good about myself. And therefore, I could much more easily admit when I had made a mistake, whether it was in a consultation meeting or with a client or in my head, because it wouldn't destroy my ego. It wouldn't destroy my sense of self-esteem. So for people who have a really hard time admitting that there's something wrong with them, typically it's because they believe everything is wrong with them.
It wasn't me.
Look at my feet right now. They literally look psychotic.
Like,
This is disgusting.
I don't get it. Like, it's exactly how it was in the pods. Oh, Nick's flirting with a bunch of women. Oh, he's Rico Suave. That's how the fuck I am, right? If I tell you I love you, if I tell you I love you, bet. Okay, roll with it.
Well, you look really hot right now.
Okay. And then she looked down at her feet. Squirrel. And then she is flirting. I think she's trying to make up for things. This also raises a question about she felt disrespected by Nick and just wanted to establish her superiority or something and hurt his feelings or get back at him somehow, not in a major way, but in a minor way. And now that has happened, she feels balanced. I don't know. Or she recognizes that she went too far and she's now trying to make up for that. Or she's responding to the things that he's saying because he is being reassuring, and that's probably what it is, right?
I think I'm just ready for bed.
Bet, me too. I'm just pissed that some meaningless conversation that I had about one of your best friends, right? If that's one of your best friends, then why are you grilling me about it?
Yeah, so he is understandably still hurt and upset, and her just saying, look at my feet, they're psychotic. Is that what she said? Let's rewind that.
Ruin that. It wasn't me.
Look at my feet right now. They literally look psychotic.
Look at my feet right now. They look psychotic. So earlier she on the list had Delulu, and now she's calling her feet psychotic. I'm glad that our words in mental health have become that society is now aware more of mental health and the need for therapy. I'm not a fan of people. What is she saying? They look psychotic. They look delusional, or as you might say, delulu. And what does she mean by delusional, delulu? Was she meaning that he was delusional, that he looked like Henry Cavill? Or was it just an immature word, oh no, for someone who's crazy and doesn't know up from down or whatever? Look at my feet right now. They look psychotic. Just use a regular word that you understand the definition of. They look weird. How about that? Or they look wrong. Stop using our words, please.
I think I'm just ready for bed.
Bet, me too. I'm just pissed that some meaningless conversation that I had about one of your best friends, right? If that's one of your best friends, then why are you grilling me about it?
Okay.
Bet, that's exactly what I thought.
He's said the word bet 3 times. And is that a thing? I'm trying to understand what by context, each time he's used it, it's been in a different context. Let me look it up. All right. Well, 53-year-old man looks up a word on Urban Dictionary while he's watching 2 people in their 20s talking. That's not the first time that's happened, even on this YouTube channel. So the word bet is a slang term that means I agree, apparently. So that must be what he means by it, because in retrospect, I think that's how he was using it. Like you bet.
Didn't do shit. I can't be myself, I guess. And I can't dress up, I guess. I gotta look dumb. I realize the person I love. I'm a mature man. I don't know what I did wrong, so. Do you hear me, Hannah?
Okay, so she is stonewalling, I think, and there's so many things she could be saying. Maybe she will. She could say, yeah, I'm sorry. Can we talk about tomorrow? That's one version that wouldn't be great, but that would just be at least acknowledging his existence and not treating him like an idiot or something. I don't know how she's treating him. She's treating him like he doesn't matter, I guess is a way to put it. Being disrespectful, being immature. She is. Or she could say something like, okay, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have been upset with you about something that Katie did, for sure. So I'm sorry for that. Can we go to bed? Something like that. I think that would end it. I think a more accurate thing would be for her to say, well, after thinking about it, yes, I shouldn't have been angry at you at all. I was angry. I was worried about Katie, but I was also kind of worried about the way that you and Katie were looking like. And at the time, I thought I could just be fun, but I think I was a little triggered, and it's nothing to do with what you did. It has more to do with just, I guess, my worries. And I guess I trust you, but we haven't known each other for too long. And this is the first time or kind of the second time, I guess it's been a little triggered in me. You're talking to the woman with the duck thing. I don't think you're going to have sex with the duck woman. I don't think you're going to have sex with Katie or leave me. But it does raise it does highlight this bigger question in my mind as to whether or not you really love me and that you're loyal to me and that you're with me and that we're a team. And you didn't do anything to counter that, but it just kind of highlights that anxiety for me. And that's why I freaked out and got mad at you. And I'm sorry for that. Can you understand how I would feel? That would be fine.
Hannah, can you hear me?
I'll commend Nick for standing his ground. I think there's a lot of pull for him to just let it go and go to bed. That would be the typical Nick behavior, I think, of accommodation. But he's not letting her go. He's not letting her off the hook. He's saying, I think I deserve some conversation here, acknowledgement of what you just did. I'm not going to just let it go because you walked out of the room and won't respond. And I'll just say, it's a very immature thing to do, to not reply when, if she were being attacked in this moment, if he had just berated her for 10 minutes and she's like, I'm done, I'm walking away. Okay, you can ignore someone, but not in a situation like this. not when you're the one. And maybe, you know, that, because that is the statement that really caused things to take a left turn, was maybe it's you. You know, you're saying you wanted to have a fun night. Okay, well, no one got in your way except for you. And that might have really stung, and she might be mulling that over. It doesn't excuse her immature stonewalling, but it could be happening for her. It could be really kind of doing a number on her, which might be a good thing that she faces that. I don't know.
I think it's always good to communicate. Just right now, it's 1:30 in the morning. I think I just want to get some sleep. Then we can talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, so half a thumb up, one half thumb. She is at least responding, and she's saying, let's talk about it tomorrow. That's good. And I want to get some sleep, and that's fine. Late night, extended, conflictual conversations are, for some, easy to handle and others not. So having this, this resolution or this agreement to talk, as long as if he wants to talk about it the next day, that she would talk about it, because some people will just continue the stonewalling and say, can you just let it go? That kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. She's not immaturely ignoring. I'm hammering on the immature thing, I guess, as retribution, and that's not okay.
Before we go to sleep, is there something that you are mad at me for that I could have done better?
No.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, because I feel like I did nothing wrong.
2 thumbs up for him. It was a very good, mature question, and she answers no, which I don't think is true. I think if she were to dig down, I think she would say, well, the way it looked like to me, mainly I was worried about Katie and her intentions, but it looked like you and her were having, that you were having a really good time with her. You didn't do anything wrong, but I am insecure, as I think a lot of people would be after getting engaged in such a short amount of time. Or maybe it's just me, but you didn't do anything wrong, but I was worried. But you reassured me, 3 minutes ago when you were saying all those nice things, so we're good. But if that's true, that she thinks he did nothing wrong, which is what she's saying, then yikes, why were you attacking him earlier? What was the deal? But I'll also point out that he is once again fawning, if you will, by asking, did I do anything wrong? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he was saying, did I do anything wrong? Or if he's asking, so did I do anything wrong? But the resolution that he's looking for is in line with their dynamic, where it's not him saying, hey, we have to talk about what you did wrong to me. That's not the question. It's, hey, did I do anything wrong to you?
I feel like I had a mature conversation with someone. I told them exactly how I felt about you.
Hey.
So.
Hey, let's just go to sleep.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay?
That's
Okay.
all right. Like,
I don't think it's resolved for him. I think he's allowing it to be let go, but I think if he dug down deep, he'd be like, I don't think I'm resolved on this. I wonder if he's struggling because he's hurt and angry, and he is saying, well, you did just say I didn't do anything wrong, so I should be fine, because that's usually what my focus is. But something doesn't feel right. Well, yeah, because she attacked you for most of that conversation, and that has not been apologized for.
all right. Well, that's that.
Oh, my head is a place full of war. I can't escape from myself anymore.
All right, well, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to this YouTube channel and liked this video, because when you do that, it makes me feel better as a human being and as a content provider, and it also helps us out, I think, with the algorithm. I'm not quite sure, but when I've been trying to like more YouTube videos, that I like, because it's not hard to do. You just sort of just the thumb up, like that's that. And yeah, but only if you care to. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.